Well, the markets are doing some pretty crazy shit right now. What is the worst case scenario for Bitcoin in our current situation? We'll go into zero. Obviously, probably really the worst case situation. World War III breaks out. We're going down to 3K, guys. Now, I want to take a look at the charts. I want to look at some different theories, thoughts from different analysts around the space, give some of my takes here, break down a bit of what has been going on, some of the Hong Kong ETF stuff, and other things. Lots to talk about in the stream today. Are we screwed? Is it over? Well, let's dive into that very topic here and see what there is to see in the charts. Now, of course, stick around to the second half of the stream by answering all of your questions. Whatever you guys want to talk about, altcoins, life, whatever, we're here for it. Let's go ahead and dive into the charts to get started off with. Bitcoin right now, 20% down from recent highs. I know it feels a lot more dramatic than that. Actually, currently, technically 19.3%, got down to minus 20% yesterday. Okay. Perspective, right? But where are we at right now? What is going on in the market? Obviously, a lot of fear on the timeline, a lot of panic on the timeline. Altcoins are savaged beyond belief. If you're holding altcoins, you're probably down 50, 60% on a lot of them. A lot of these coins have retraced a significant amount of their gains, which is pretty standard when it comes down to it in these massive corrections that we see in the market. Right now, Bitcoin, as you can see here, as we can move the bottom, still approximately within our general range. We haven't actually dipped down below this 57.3 mark yet, which was this area of price support from back here on the 5th of March. But right now, we are struggling very deeply with the 100-day exponential moving average. That is the pink line here on the chart. Yesterday's candle did close back above that after a short wick under. Today's candle currently struggling right at that line, key area of price support. Of course, the 50 days, the earlier indicator, obviously has the yellow line in the chart here. We lost that back on the 13th of April, had a brief recovery, but wasn't enough. Basically just a fake out pump before things coming back down. A lot of struggling trying to get back over that 50-day EMA. Now price currently all the way down here. Broadly, we can still consider this consolidation structure until we break under 57.3, I would say. Let's see how things play out over the next few days. Of course, that 100-day EMA becomes very relevant if we can stay above it. Let's see. But what is the worst case scenario right now in the market? How bad can things get before, of course, we get better? And look, markets are crazy, okay? And a lot of the time, people will get shaken out of their bags. They won't want to sell when it's high, but when things are, your Bitcoin's down 20%, your altcoins are down 50%, that's when the fear kicks in. A lot of people want to sell. Now, me personally, I am okay riding the waves in the market. It's pretty dramatic. Obviously, it's what crypto does. This is the game that we're playing. Oh, we all love the volatility in the crypto markets when it's working in our favor to the upside. Nobody likes volatility when it's working against us to the downside, okay? What are the next major areas of price support? Now, again, I would like to point out, psychologically, people tend to start getting very bearish at key areas of price support. Right now, at one of those key areas of price support, we could go lower. Not saying it's a definitive that we're going lower. We could go lower. The next major area of price support for Bitcoin is around $52,000. You have to understand, from here down, a lot of thin air, price support-wise. This area back here from mid-February, that was resistance. That can be counted as our area of price support right now. It also lines right up with the 200-day exponential moving average. We start closing candles under the 200-day EMA, bad news bears, let me tell you. Now, if worst case scenario in my mind, of course, not assuming that this isn't the end of the end and we're going down to 12K, guys, okay? You'll see, again, a lot of overly bearish takes when the price starts going down. Those takes are often, as I would say, misguided, perhaps, as the overly bullish takes at 73, 74K, right? We tend to over dramatize things on either end of the extreme. Anyway, the next logical step down, if we see continued weakness in the market, if we see more regulatory attack and bad news and all that kind of stuff happening, the next step down is to the 52K area. Very important area, very, very important area. If you ask me, again, that's the resistance here, which we'd flip into support, 200-day EMA. Wicks as low as 48K are not off the table if we do go down this far. Personally, based on, we can always update this later, obviously, but based on the current structure of the market, that would be a very key area to be looking at, assuming we go further down in the short term. Now, how terrifying of a move would 52K be? 28.9, let's just call it 30%, okay? 30% sounds really, really scary, okay? It does. Oh, scary, right? However, 30% corrections are completely normal in a bull market cycle. Again, maybe I'm totally wrong. And it's over, guys. It's over. We're going to 12K. See you next cycle, right? Bitcoin halving just happened 2 weeks ago, and that's it. Cycle's over. Cycle's over, man. Bitcoin ETFs changed it only for the negative. We got our high 2 weeks before, whatever, 3 weeks before the Bitcoin halving, month before, whatever it was. And now it's all over. Again, overly bearish sentiment when the prices start going down. 52K is not off the books, I would say. But here's the thing. 52K at this point, it's only about 10, 11% below where we are right now. Now, if you believe that Bitcoin is going to go to 150K, 215, where 3.618 Fibonacci lines at, maybe 250K this cycle, then it's not going to make a wildly big difference if you're accumulating at 60K or 52K, right? The only time, okay, well, I need to run out and sell my position because I want to rebuy lower. If you're trying to rebuy lower at a 10% move, it's a lot of risk for very little reward in that situation. That's why I'm largely just riding my bags. I'm fine. I don't mind the volatility. Volatility I expect in this market, okay? That 52K area is a very, very important one for a variety of reasons. We do not want to lose the 200-day EMA. A couple wicks below wouldn't blow my mind, but we don't want to lose it significantly, all right? That being said, will we get 52K? Nobody knows, right? I know that a lot of people are going to say, get their crystal balls out and say, this is definitively what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody else does either. We all have our theses. We all have our thoughts. We all have our models that we work on, things that we look at, key things that we look at in terms of like, okay, this is a key line of support, that's a key line of support, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. World War III breaks out, for example, all bets are off the table. That's your black swan event essentially happening like we had in 2020 with the COVID stuff. Again, not saying, hey, this is the most likely scenario. I'm just putting it out here on the table for you guys for something to think about, right? Okay, so there's that. This is the key things you're watching on the chart right now. Until we break lower and really significantly lose the 100-day EMA, I still consider this all to be one big fat consolidation pattern, but we're right at the edge right now. If we don't bounce soon, then that spells potentially a bit of trouble, right? We want to see consolidation actually happening within the whole range here. And so far, we've had a lot of down range consolidation happening. Although for perspective, guys, we're at 60K right now. And if you'd told a lot of people a year ago, hey, Bitcoin's going to be at 60K next year, everybody said, wow, that's fantastic. But you have to provide the perspective. Well, it's a 60K, but it was at 74K 6 weeks before that. So now everyone's really bearish and, freaking out. Perspective, right? Long-term thinking, again, is what tends to win the most in this game. Short-term thinking, being overly responsive to the news, being over responsive to the FUD can really get you messed up in this game. Okay. Crypto's a crazy market, man. It's wild out here. I want to share a few different perspectives for you from things being said around the internet right now. Peter Brandt sharing. He said, comments on Bitcoin have seen I said comments on Bitcoin. He said, we've seen dozens of significant market tops over the years with charts that looked like this descending triangle. Simple fact needs to be resolved that Bitcoin has not exceeded the tops made 3 years ago, despite the halving and the ETFs. Now, Peter's looking at the chart, trying to be dispassionate, right? Remember, the Bitcoin halving just happened. Now, could this be a short-term top? Maybe we don't see a new high price for Bitcoin for some months. Totally possible. Traditionally, when we have a Bitcoin halving happen, it's followed by a few months of chop and consolidation. Go back and look at the 2020 charts. Same thing. Now, we reached a high earlier in the cycle this time due to the Bitcoin ETF inflows. Had those Bitcoin ETF inflows not happened, the price would probably be at like 40K right now, and we'd be looking at the chop, and everybody'd probably have a different opinion on the way the market's working out right now. But because we did have that little taste of that sweet nectar earlier, it skews your vision of what can happen. But the Bitcoin halving was a fundamentally bullish event. We do have nonstop new sources of demand, of on-ramps coming in for the market, and that's something important to keep an eye on. Virtual Bacon sharing this. He said, we're seeing tons of Bitcoin to 50K calls in Chinese circles and a 2021 crash repeat scenario. Says, my gut tells me that this prices won't get that low. Now, that's what's cruising around, I guess, Chinese Telegram groups, whatever, right now. And if we go back over here, 52K, again, that's very, very key important level for Bitcoin if we are to go that low. And again, when we see retesting these key areas of price support, people tend to get overly bearish at those situations. Not saying we can't go lower, just commenting on the way that human psychology tends to work as these market cycles play out. Raoul Powell pointing out that this is the fourth 20% correction for Bitcoin in 12 months. Pretty ordinary stuff. Think about that. Think about that, guys. That this is the fourth 20% correction in the last year. Now, perhaps we have a skewed view of how all this is working out because we had that taste of the new high, right? We all got very excited, Bitcoin ETFs here, all that kind of stuff. But then the markets tend to play out in a pretty similar way to how markets tend to play out. We get huge run-ups, consolidation periods, run-ups, et cetera, et cetera. So again, food for thought, right? I'm trying to present a few different scenarios for you guys, so you have something to think about. You can make your own calls on how you think this is all going to go. Wolf of All Streets, I like this one. Says, for illustrative purposes only, this is what you can expect from Bitcoin if the normal halving / 4-year cycle repeats. Don't shoot the messenger. It may not repeat, but this is what you would get. So post-halving, consolidation, chop, 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 chop. Then, of course, at some point, we're going to get a squeeze. We're going to get a catalyst. Price is going to go up. Maybe we get up to like, 70. He said I got about 78K or something here as the next move up. Renee saying 85K will be the top of this cycle. Maybe. 90K is a very interesting area. We've talked about that a few times here on the channel before. That would be a very weak cycle if that was like the top. Although I have speculated that 90K could be our first really significant top, but maybe we're getting almost like 3 tops this cycle. We get our 74K, then we get a 90K, and then along the lines of what the Wolf of All Streets here is pointing out, maybe he's not quite bullish enough on that second pump, and the second pump goes up to maybe, like Renee says, 85, maybe up to 90K, which would be very, again, based on some of the charts we looked at previously, an interesting logical area for the price to go. Massive correction again because markets are wildly volatile. This is what crypto does before shooting off to our eventual market peak at 150K or 215, 215, something like that. We shall see. Wolf Wall Street's also sharing this one. He says a bit of a pure grade Bolivian hopium here for you. We now have a perfect theoretical bull flag on the daily with a bounce right at the 100 MA. Of course, that 100 MA, as we discussed, hanging on by a thread right now, but interesting perspective, right? Immortal saying, what if we just chill in this range for the next 2 months? That's almost the Max Payne scenario. In a weird way, I feel like just pulling off the plaster, letting it dump down to 52K to just wash it out would be kind of chill in a way. But will it, won't it for 2 months is almost a Max Payne scenario, just grinding sideways, little pump up. Oh, we're so back, a little dump down. Oh my gosh, it's so over. Again and again and again. Now we're going to break down the Bitcoin ETF stuff here in a second. Just a quick reminder, if you're not signed up to the newsletter yet, get signed up to the newsletter. Best damn newsletter in the cryptocurrency business. Every single week, you will get all kinds of alpha to your email inbox. Charts, DeFi, airdrops, altcoin deep dives, and much more, as well as all these kind of great articles like this one. Are Bitcoin runes here to stay? Anchor Network, Babylon Chain, staking your BTC, all kinds of fun stuff like this. Free articles you can read over here on the website, thewealthmaster.io, or get signed up to the newsletter and get them straight to your inbox. Now, Willy Woo shared this chart. It's very interesting, actually. This he said, Hong Kong ETF's going tomorrow. That's, of course, already happened. But he says, here's a little secret from this part of the world. The Asian market in user count is bigger than the USA and European markets combined. Now, that is super interesting because it makes you realize where a lot of the excitement in the markets is coming from. Asian markets are really in the driver's seat in a lot of ways on what's going on in the cryptocurrency markets. Obviously, North America is a very important market and it's a big monetary part of the market. But when you get shaken out by SEC FUD and all that kind of stuff, you have to understand the United States is not the only crypto market in the world. It's not the leader even really in a lot of ways in the crypto market globally. I know the ETFs are very much an important part of the liquidity picture, and that's not going away. But look where all developers are going. Developers are leaving the United States. They're going other places. The development that's come out of Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, out of Europe, massive. So Asia, very important part of this entire market. And now we have Bitcoin ETFs for those markets. Now, the initial debut was a bit lackluster, and we have got some conflicting numbers here a bit. James Seifert here is saying, said to be clear, by any reasonable relative measure for the launch of these ETFs, they were a massive success for the Hong Kong market. It's just that some were trying to look at what happened in the US and equate that in some way, the HK Hong Kong ETF market on an absolute basis. So we had 12 million in volume, so about 4-to-1 for Bitcoin ETFs versus Ethereum ETFs, almost 13 million combined, according to these numbers. We have some other numbers here I want to share with you in a second, too. There's been a few numbers bantered around. This is for Bosera funds. They've got here 58 million in Bitcoin, 12 million in Ethereum, which we have an explanation for that. Eric Balkunas, also ETF analyst, saying, we tried to warn everyone to lower expectations regarding Hong Kong, especially versus the $25 billion hopium estimate. That said, if you localize numbers, this was a big day. China AMC Bitcoin ETF took in $123 million on day one, which already ranks it as 6th out of the 82 ETFs launched in the past 3 years in Hong Kong in the top 20% overall. He says, this is interesting though, I think one of the biggest confusing things about this launch is the big gap day one of assets versus volume. He says it looks like they already had the assets under management in before trading started versus in the USA, where the issuers would rather have the pre-planned investors buy on day one. So the volume is impacted, which helps with marketing. In the end, it's the same. One method just gives you more optical bang for the buck, which is where the disconnect comes from. Oh, it's a big failure. And look, you have to understand, no matter how much money comes in from Hong Kong, note this, it's all just extra money. And even though we had low volume, the total amount of Bitcoin actually coming in, look at this. We had total assets, 123 million for this China AMC Bitcoin ETF. That's significant for day one. It's just that, like Eric points out, volume was low because they already had all the buyers lined up, and so the volume didn't hit the market day one, but the asset under management, those were bought. Okay, so that's an interesting note to this whole conversation, and actually doesn't make the Hong Kong ETFs as bearish as some have made them out to be. It's actually pretty good. Hong Kong, much smaller market than U.S. markets, right? U.S. equity markets are 54% of all global equity markets. Hong Kong's probably like 2 or 3%. So not a bad showing out of Hong Kong, if you ask me. And here's the thing, is that any money coming in is long-term bullish because it's another country where we have Bitcoin ETFs on the market. South Korea is still coming. Australia is still coming. All this big stuff that makes the rest of the year feel very exciting in spite of the short-term price action. Okay. Chris Bernisky still saying $10 trillion is still the target. Be thankful for your opportunity to stack more units. In a few months, you'll likely get what you bought. You'll likely wish that you bought more. Chris, OG crypto guy. He's formerly from ARK Invest. He led the crypto over there. Currently works at VC and all that stuff. But I remember him posting 2 or 3 days after the FTX collapse, basically saying bullish from the bottom. And he was right. He was right. $10 trillion target. Total market cap of all crypto coins. If we get up to $10 trillion, you have to realize how insane that's going to be. Bitcoin at $5 trillion is going to be about 250K, 220K, something like that per BTC. Ethereum goes to 2 trillion. It's like $15,000, something like that. Throwing numbers off the top of my head here. And altcoins then go to around $3 trillion combined, which means that everyone's going to make money. Everyone's going to eat. Okay. Except people who come in and buy that top at $10 trillion. They're not going to eat. They're going to be giving us their lunch, I guess. But that's how the game works, guys. Don't hate the player, hate the game. It's the way markets work. Okay. And don't lose sight of the fact, too, that people are still coming in spite of this price correction. Money's still coming in. Users are still coming in. Tom Dunleavy here sharing. Base is onboarding 50 to 100,000 new crypto users every single day, approaching 9 million total users now. Those are crazy numbers. Okay. Understand where we're going, not where we are right now. Okay. It's the sort of when you're driving a car, right? Say you get into some trouble in the car. Now, where do you want to drive the car, right? Do you want to drive the car off, okay, you're skidding and you hit some black ice or something like, oh my gosh, car's going crazy. Where do you want to drive? Okay. Do you want to drive into the wall? Are you looking at the wall? Oh my gosh, I'm driving into the wall. I'm driving into the wall. Or do you want to say, I don't want to drive into the wall. I want to drive on the road. I want to look ahead, right? Because other people are crashing all around you. Crashing and burning, because that's what always happens on market corrections. But you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy who drives into the wall. You want to be the guy who looks ahead, drives ahead, steers himself ahead with confidence because you know where you're going. Okay. I hope all that's useful for you guys. These are my takes on the market. Obviously, not financial advice. I could be wrong. I frequently am dramatically wrong on my takes in the market. All right. The only question is, can I be right enough to make money? Because no one's right 100% of the time. All right. Let's keep that in mind. Crypto's risky. You can lose all your money, as you're probably finding out during this market correction. If you ever want to see a full risk statement or my portfolio disclosures, you can find those down below in the comment. The description on YouTube or the pinned comment on X. You'll find all my current portfolio holdings, venture investments, all that kind of stuff. Okay. That being said, let's crack open a Perrier. Come on. It's Perrier time, guys. Let's go. Yes. Okay, so let's talk crypto. What do you guys want to talk about? What is my prediction for the Arkham coin? No idea. No idea. Don't follow it as a coin. But hey, they've got a great data platform, so shout out to them for that. What interests me about meme? Actually, they should rename it Moon Meme or Meme Beam. Anyway, yeah, we'll probably do a video on at some point in the future. Look, Moonbeam beta play for the Polkadot ecosystem. I have got a bunch from basically last cycle. I feel like it's something that has potential being sort of, the Ethereum of the Polkadot blockchain ecosystem. I was bullish enough on it to not sell it during the bear market. I feel like it will have its comeback moment at some point. It came out very late last cycle. And as a result of that, just thought, hey, you know what? I'll hold it through the bear market, see what happens next cycle. No point in dropping it when it's low. It's probably going to go higher in the future. So there you go. Okay. Aero will definitely bounce back. Yeah, 100%. Look, every every altcoin is down dramatic. I mean, there's probably one or two like, okay, they're up, but like they're really the exception. Basically, everything is down right now. Okay. And that's fine. That's what happens in the market. Polkadot is dead. I don't think so. I think marketing partner, by the way, with Polkadot. But I also have a giant bag of Polkadot, and the reason I'm holding my giant bag of Polkadot is because I think Polkadot 2.0 hype, what they're bringing out now with Jam, all that kind of stuff. These guys are builders. These guys are builders. I feel like Polkadot's going to have a sort of recovery arc this cycle. So that's why I'm holding on to my Polkadot bags. Lark, when am I buying Render? You know, not sure. Not sure I will. It's on the watch list, but I'm not sure I actually will. Don't know. Hard to say. I've been using my cash for other stuff. I took some cash and put it into the Arrow USDC liquidity pool, farming Arrow. I took some cash and I put it into the Drip protocol. A couple pre-sales in the last few weeks, stuff like that. So I don't know if I want to add yet another coin. I do like Render though. It's the short list of stuff that if I want to enter a new altcoin position, one that I would in theory enter, but I'm not sure that I'm going to. Okay. Just because I'm a watch list or I'm thinking about it doesn't mean I'll actually end up buying it. Jupiter or Phantom for a 12 to 18 month hold. What do you buy? Well, gosh, they're both interesting. And they're very different. It's like, do you want to buy an apple or an orange? Right? It's not just two different kinds of apples, right? If you're saying like Jupiter or Arrow, okay, which apple do you like? Green apples or red apples, right? Between these two very different platforms, hard to say which is going to be making the most money. I mean, I like a lot of the catalysts in Jupiter right now. Everything that's going on in the Solana ecosystem, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's a great beta play for the entirety of the Solana ecosystem. Phantom, it's definitely not getting the hype right now, but I feel like with the Sonic upgrade and they got a lot of stuff in the pipeline, could be something people are talking about a lot more later in the year, for example. So I have no idea which one's going to do better. I've got exposure to both. I've got a current big bag of Jupiter, and I've did an OTC deal for a bunch of Phantom, which has a vesting period, so it'll officially be in my portfolio later, but I have bought some. Okay. Mauricio, how will the announcement tomorrow from Powell affect the market? Should we see a bigger drop or recovery? Well, it depends on what he says. Old J Powell, man. Papa Powell, what's he going to say? I have no idea. Depending on what he says and his tone, will probably affect the way the market plays out tomorrow. If he comes out with more dovish talk and all that stuff, then markets will probably like. If he comes out and says we have to strap down and inflation's a big problem and blah, 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 and uses more hawkish language and makes hawkish statements, then the stock markets are probably not going to like that. And stock markets don't like it. The crypto markets don't like it because we follow very closely to how the stock markets play out in general. Sometimes we diverge a bit, but generally we kind of go in that direction. Lots of talks about Arrow. Yes, guys. Yes, I think it'll bounce back in a great way at some point. Base ecosystem. Look at the data I just shared with you guys on Base. Come on. 50 to 100,000 new users a day coming to Base. Coinbase has 120 million users they're going to onboard potentially. Not that everyone's going to go over on chain, but a lot of people will. Let's say they bring 20 million on. That's huge. It's beyond belief huge. What do you think about Kusama? Don't really think about it that much. I know that some people were very excited about Kusama. I never really got that excited about Kusama. It'll probably run harder than DOT, but that's why I've got my beta play with Moonbeam. And that's enough exposure to the DOT ecosystem for me. But I don't really think about Kusama too much. Never really got super excited about it. But hey, it's there. It exists. $10 trillion market cap. Where would SOL be priced at, in your opinion? We've done a great price prediction video on Solana. I'd say go watch it. I think it's still totally relevant. Oh, I know the price is down, whatever, but it's still totally relevant to, I think, the long-term picture for Solana during this extended cycle that we're in. And we could get up to like $1,000 per SOL, for example, which is not insane gains, right? The beta plays, gotta make more money. For example, I think that Jupiter could go to $20. So that's a 20x gain potentially. Maybe I'm wrong and it goes to zero, but I think it could go to $20. Not saying that's where I'm definitively going to sell it out of. I see market conditions topping, whatever. Okay, maybe it's time to get out of my position at $16 or something like that. It's fine. But that's my general thought. It could be a $20 coin at the peak of the market, which if Sol goes to $1,000, then that's 7x gain or something from the current price. I don't know the price of Sol's at this particular second. But bigger gains he had in the beta plays, which I put my money on Jupiter. Okay. How high is Arrow going to go according to you? Don't know. Don't know. Good question. Don't know. Don't really have a price target on it per se. Just trying to get a decent farming position set up and then accumulate a bunch, start selling a bunch. You know, if I can sell, if I can sell for $10 at some point, that stuff that I'm farming, great, fantastic. Might go much higher than that. But I'm just throwing that out there as a farm and sell and get cash kind of thought, right? Space Lump says, if you're out of money to buy dips, I'm right there with your friends. You know, this is the thing too. You're going to see on social media, everyone's buying the dip, right? Everyone's going to perfectly sell the top, perfectly buy the bottoms. Everyone's always got infinite cash to buy the dips. Most people don't. Okay. You don't always have to be trying to make every little move in the market. Sometimes you can just ride your positions. You don't have to be buying. You don't have to be selling. You can just sit back and relax if you're willing to understand how the volatility works in this market. What's up with Uniswap? The token? Governance token, not interested. Protocol, great. Uniswap, fantastic DEX. You know, well, not fantastic, but certainly a powerful one that has got a lot of access and all this sort of stuff. Although a lot of other decentralized exchanges are just way better in terms of user experience and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, Uniswap's out there. Okay. We're crashing. We still going down? Yeah, we're okay. 60K. We're okay, guys. Do you see Near as a top 10 coin this cycle? No idea. It's currently top 20, I think. Top 25, something like that. We actually have an explainer video coming on this in a couple days. Try to record that tomorrow. Maybe for you guys will come out in the next few days. Keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to make it to the top 10 or not. Competition between layer one blockchains is wildly fierce right now. And I think Near's got enough hype, but probably not like wild hype. Right now. Maybe there's a killer app that's coming out or something. For example, I see a lot more people talking about Sui than I do about Sway, whatever. The SUI cryptocurrency than I do about Near. So something to think about. Let's try and answer a few of these super chats real quick. Would you swap ADA out for Gala or some other coin to hold? I have no idea what you should do, obviously. What would I do if I had a big bag of Cardano? Yeah, I'd probably swap it out for something. Personally, no hate on ADA, guys. Come on. You know, I love Cardano. Made a truckload of money on that last cycle. It's fantastic. Love my ADA bags that I had back then. But in terms of what I'd swap now, hard to say. I mean, you have to ask yourself the question, why did you buy ADA? What were your thoughts for it? What was your intention for that position that you bought? Why are you selling right now? And what are you selling for? And what you're selling for, do you think that it will outperform? Are you taking higher risk for potentially higher reward, or higher risk for a more uncertain reward? These are all things to think about. Thoughts on Sui? Again, I think a very much a cryptocurrency is catching a lot of interest from people right now. Don't have a bag, haven't even used the blockchain. Maybe I'll get around to doing something on there one of these days. But so far, I think a lot of people are talking about there's a lot of things going on. Users, numbers, total value locked, all stuff is up. So something to pay attention to, I think. And I am keeping a peripheral vision on it, but I'm not really diving deep into the Sui ecosystem yet. Just can't pay attention to everything, right? Is Dot dead? We already talked about that. When will I cover cast? But at some point on the list of reviews for some point in the future. We will talk about it at some point. Don't worry. Thoughts on Bitcoin dominance in Total 3? What do we expect this cycle as they relate to peaks and lows? Not so much about Bitcoin dominance per se, but in terms of the Total 3, I did a video recent-ish. I don't remember the title off the top of my head, but it was something like how high can altcoins go, or altcoin season, or something like that. Anyway, but Total 3, I think we could get up to, I think the 3.618 Fibonacci line for the Total 3 is like 3.3 trillion or something like that. And we're currently at 600 billion. So that's a big gain, 6x gain for the total market cap of all altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course. Huge gains will be had, especially for like mid caps and stuff like that. Would you hold or swap Arbitrum? Well, I sold my Arbitrum 6 weeks ago, something like that. Great decision. Felt good. Just the Arbitrum, great blockchain network to use. I use it all the time. Token sucks. It's not getting any value. It's just a governance token, and they haven't found a way to bring value to it yet. Maybe they will at some point. They have not so far. DMC, is the meme coin market being watered down in your opinion? It seems, yes, absolutely, way too many, because the barrier to launch a new meme coin is nothing, right? You can launch a new meme coin in minutes, basically. So yeah, the barrier is non-existent. Way too many meme coins in the market right now, and the vast majority of them are going to go to zero. Just how it is. Some of them will go on to make eye-watering gains. So find the ones that have community, find the ones that are actually getting some traction. And then everybody wants to be the guy who buys something for like a $25,000 market cap or runs it up to 10 billion, cashes out for hundreds of millions, whatever. Most people won't do that. If you want to play the meme coin game, quote unquote, safer, wait for a project to have its initial pump, initial dump, see what the communities, if they're still there, if they're still excited, if it's getting some traction, that could be an interesting entry point for meme coins. But expect massive volatility. Expect your meme coins to go up by 300-400%, down by 70%. Like, it's crazy. Okay. Thoughts on Trestle? Never heard of it. Aptos, don't think about it very much. Interesting-ish blockchain. Haven't used it. I've kept an eye on some of the stuff. I think we have a review on it. We did 2 or 3 weeks ago. You can go watch our thoughts on it there. But I would say Sui over Aptos. Personal opinion, not having money on either horse right now. But I would look and go, well, I feel like Sui is getting more mind share and excitement and stuff around it. Not to say that Aptos can't just come out of nowhere and move ahead, but that's my kind of thought on it right now. Open the BTC chart. Go back. We talked about the Bitcoin chart extensively already, and nothing has happened since then. So there we go. Most shit coins are all trying to do the same thing. A lot will go to zero. Amen. But that's everything, isn't it? Look at stocks. A lot of stocks trying to, fight in the same arenas, and a lot of those will go to zero too. Right? A lot of those will go to zero too. So crypto space, things just move faster, let's say. We don't need to have 50 on-chain perpetual swap decentralized exchanges. We don't need to have 50 oracles. We don't need to have 200 blockchains. As I've said many times, long-term in this market, you'll see clear winners form up. Maybe, and we're already seeing that to some extent. Bitcoin's a clear winner. Ethereum's a clear winner. Solana looks like it's going to be a clear winner. Maybe something derails this cycle and that is proven wrong. But long-term, I think 3 or 4 blockchains will capture 90% plus potentially the business. And then the remaining 10% of the business, you'll have 3 or 4 more blockchains to capture 90% of that business. So that means the other 192 blockchains out there in existence are going to be fighting over 2% market share. Think about that. So place your bets wisely. Is Illuvium the best gaming coin this bull run? Damn, it's a good one, isn't it? Got a big bag of Illuvium, by the way. I think it's a great looking game. I think it's got great potential. That's why I have a bunch, bought more 6 months ago or something like that. I bought some more, and then I bought some more 2 or 3 months ago with an OTC deal from the team. So my bet's placed. I think Illuvium's got great potential moving forward in the cycle and that it can do really exciting things. So got a big bag packed on that thesis. That being said, there's a lot of other games, great games coming out too. Off the Grid. Have you guys seen this one? It's not released yet, but man, it looks hot. Got a bag, but it looks super hot. So we'll see how that goes. I've got some nodes too for that. How do you feel about the Camino Finance and Eigenlayer airdrops? Well, Camino Finance, I think, came out at a terrible time. It was down like 80% in the first hour of trading or something like that. Savage, absolutely savage. Currently worth virtually nothing, comparatively, and not virtually nothing, but let's say I farmed a lot of it, and now it's really not worth very much. But that's market conditions. They released their token at a terrible time. They should have just delayed and said, "Hey guys, we're gonna wait until market conditions get better to open up the claiming for the token," but they didn't, and there it is right now. So Eigenlayer, I feel like a lot of people are pissed off for a damn good reason, because here's the thing. They have very robust anti-VPN stuff, right? Half the world is excluded from claiming this, but nobody was excluded from depositing their Ethereum into the Eigenlayer. Your money was welcomed. But when it came time to claim your airdrop, sorry, not for half of you. It's kind of crazy. I think a lot of people dislike that. I think a lot of people also dislike the fact that it's going to be locked up for the gosh knows how long. So yeah, at the end of the day, though, for me, whatever, it's free money. Most of my Eigenlayer, in fact, all my Eigenlayer farming was done via other liquid restaking tokens like EtherFi, for example. I already got a great EtherFi airdrop, and I got another airdrop from Eigenlayer. Not that I've been able to claim it or sell it yet, obviously, but hey, at some point, I'm sure I'll get a nice payday from that. Got a lot of tokens sitting there, so that's great. It's a bonus. It's a bonus, right? So right now I'm earning great yield on my Ethereum through EtherFi and PlayStack and whatever, and I'm earning Eigenlayer points. So great. I'll get those airdrops. I'll get that airdrop. I'll earn yield on my ETH. It's all good. I had low expectations, and this is the thing. Generally, when it comes to airdrop, keep your expectations super low. The lower your expectations, the happier you're going to be about it. If you go into every airdrop thinking, I'm going to put in $5 and get $1 million back, you're going to be disappointed all the time. Okay. One or two more here, guys, and we'll finish up for today. SEC pushing for KYC. People will use Coinbase and Base. Yeah, well, that's an interesting factor, isn't it? If the smart wallet and all that stuff connects to your KYC'd Coinbase account, then hey, the feds are going to know, aren't they? All you influencers told me the Eigenlayer drop would be massive. Glad I didn't waste my time. Well, airdrops, man, you just never know. You just never know. Like I said, for me, it's worked out pretty fine. No referrals or anything like that. Just taking some of my ETH, putting into Puffer Finance, putting into EtherFi, putting into Kelp, putting into ClayStack. I'm going to get all 4 of those airdrops. I already got the EtherFi airdrop. I'm going to get the season 2 of the EtherFi airdrop. I'm earning yield on my Ethereum while I'm doing it. And I got the Eigenlayer airdrop as well. So it's working out pretty well so far. But it depends on, I guess, if you brought in 0.1 ETH and you put it in Eigenlayer and you got like $20 or $10 or something, yeah, you probably do feel a bit disappointed. You might not be able to claim it depending on where you live. And then the Ethereum layer 1 fees to even claim such a small airdrop are going to be nothing. So that's frustrating. And I get it. Okay, I do. Thoughts on a Litecoin ETF? Well, Litecoin's actually, as I said before, very well suited for an ETF. I would not be blown away to see a Litecoin ETF. And that could be the saving grace for Litecoin this cycle, getting a Litecoin ETF. Might be the big use case. I trash Litecoin all the time as being approximately a useless coin, but it is a safe commodity coin. And it could get the ETF, which could breathe new life into Litecoin for the cycle. That would be fitting, actually. Huh. Crypto Brothers saying Nyan Hero is going to be a banger. I agree. I agree that it is going to be one. And I've got, by the way, pre-sale investor farming the airdrop, and I bought a bunch of Nyan Heroes NFTs back in 2022. Just held them. Didn't think about them. And now, holy crap, I got a huge multiplier of points for holding those NFTs. So let's hope that when the airdrop comes, that they do it at a good time in the market, so it's worth something. Okay. MetaMask airdrop in 2045. Yeah, I know. Well, hey, maybe once Consensus wins their lawsuit against the SEC, maybe then we'll finally get a MetaMask airdrop. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Jason, howdy, Lark from Auckland. What's up? Shout out to Auckland, man. We're rainy down here today in Wellington. Surprise, surprise. Okay. What's this one here? How come when Bitcoin rallied up after the ETF approval, the alts went up minimal, but as soon as Bitcoin goes down, the alts drop either way? Yeah, well, that's the altcoin game, man. That's the altcoin game. Liquidity flees fast. People flee fast out of their positions. Look, altcoins went up a lot. And I think the expectation sometimes for altcoins is that they're just going to go like whoosh, up 1,000,000%, right? Look at what they went up. I mean, Solana went up 2,000% in a year. A lot of coins went up a lot. Not many hit new highs though, but that's not where we are in the market, right? We got to wait for that. That will come. That time will come. Brucey says, I've gotten 3 airdrops since I've been farming. They've all been worthless. I know how you feel. I've probably got 30 airdrops over the last few years. And I would say of those 30, that probably 25 have been pretty meh. 5 have been like, holy shit. That feels like, I got how much money? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. So you get winners once in a while. It's a bit of a game, but it is what it is. You got to keep your expectations set properly for the airdrop game. Okay, lots of different. You know what? I think we're gonna finish up there for today, guys. We got lots of different altcoin questions stuff coming through, but we're getting long. We're up to 47 minutes, so I think we're gonna can it there for today. You guys are awesome. Thank you for joining this stream, for sticking around, for talking crypto with me, talking shop. You guys are awesome. Favorite part of my day, getting to sit down with you guys, talk crypto coins. It's a great time. I hope you had fun. I hope there was something useful in here for you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.